The last chapter of Assassin's Creed Valhalla sucks. After more than 2 years of waiting for a satisfying conclusion, we've instead been met with lazy writing, rushed cutscenes, visual bugs, and an ending that is more or less just an avenue for them to promote their next title, Assassin's Creed Mirage. While leaving off on a cliffhanger may be a commonly used tactic to drive hype for an upcoming project, the way it was executed here was beyond uninspired. And I think a lot of the blame falls on how this was marketed over the past couple of months. We were promised an ending to Eivor's story. The way they portrayed it through trailers and things like blog posts certainly gave the impression that this would be more than what it was. And can you blame the player base for assuming this? No. I definitely don't think so. While there have been a few paid expansions that delivered a decent amount of content, there have also been a few free updates throughout the game's lifecycle that were fairly meaty and fun. Take the Tombs, for example, or even the Forgotten Saga. That was basically a completely new way to play the game, and you could play for hours and still find new bits of content to enjoy. And, you know, I would even argue that it did more to further parts of the story than the last chapter did, and that's where the main issue is. This was hardly an ending in any form. It took the most basic, uninspired approach and did the literal bare minimum that a company would have to do to produce what could be considered an ending. I say that with very large air quotes also. Everything we learn in the ending, we more or less learn in the trailer. Instead of getting a fleshed out ending to Eivor's tale, we get to see literal moments of Basim skipping through Eivor's life like it's the sponsor section of a YouTube video. In total, we probably got about 5 minutes of cutscenes to cap off the game that we have been waiting for the conclusion to for, like I said, 2 fucking years. And hey, that's not always a bad thing. If the last chapter would have seriously delivered on the narrative side of things, that may have actually been enough. But no. The moments we do get with Eivor are poorly written exchanges between characters that really weren't all that important to Eivor's tale. Did we get a heartwarming goodbye between Eivor and Sigurd? No. We see him for about 5 seconds as a secondary character in one of the awkward goodbye scenes. The focus is instead on people like Hytham, and even for those characters, there is hardly a goodbye. It's more just Eivor having a conversation and then midway through deciding, okay, peace out, I'm leaving for reasons that make little to no sense. This all just feels like a lazy way to explain how Eivor got to Vinland. They built that up as a pretty big story point throughout the main campaign, and I can't help but feel like they had more planned but didn't have time or resources to deliver what they had in mind. The very end of the last chapter has Odin and Eivor at the edge of a cliff, with Eivor asking what exactly caused Ragnarok. And Odin gives us the answer we already knew, which was that it was a solar flare. Big surprise, right? I really don't understand why they keep circling back to this topic and then refuse to really expand on it in the modern day sections. And of course, after hearing this, Eivor has absolutely no clue what Odin is talking about. Odin says that it's going to take a while to explain, but Eivor's okay with that because, in quotes, time is all they have left. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it would take Odin, the all-knowing god, very long to explain such a simple concept to someone that's arguably as intelligent or as wise as himself, seeing as they are more or less the same person at this point in the story. That's a pretty weak way to end a game we've been waiting for the conclusion to for 2 years. It then ends with a cliche pan up to the sky, with a rendition of Ezio's family ham-fisted into the scene to give a false sense of finality. Was it cool? Yeah, it was cool, but only because they shoved in that theme that every Assassin's Creed fan knows and loves. It harkens back to the old days of Assassin's Creed, days that nowadays are sadly quite distant. And don't get me wrong, I loved Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was the guy defending it when everyone was saying it was an awful, buggy mess. I think Valhalla is the best Assassin's Creed game since Unity, which is also severely underrated, and that's what makes this ending kinda disappointing. I expected more to satisfy the fans who stuck with this title for so long, but alas, this is how it ended. It turns out Odin was wrong. Ubisoft was the cause of Ragnarok all along. But yeah, that's all for now, guys. This video is a bit different from what I usually put out, so I'd appreciate it if you guys gave me some thoughts and opinions in the comments. If you played the last chapter, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.